Biggest game of the weekend is a Big Ten matchup. The Ohio State Buckeyes are on the road at Happy Valley. Noontime kick. I feel bad for the Penn State fans always getting these games at noon, but nonetheless, this game is going to be awesome. I think, in my opinion, I know the spread's been close in a few of these games, but I think this is the best chance that Penn State has had in recent years to actually take down Ohio State. I think so far they've been looking pretty good. Now, I think there are a few blemishes, and you can look at their resume and say, I mean, what's really been their stiffest competition? And there's no doubt Ohio State will be their toughest competition to date. But they have been handling their business, and they have been looking solid. Now, there's obviously questions about Drew Aller and whether he will start. I have the inkling and think that he will play. I think they could also go with Pagula too. I think both of them will actually get reps, but I do think Aller will start. Now, you did see that both of them bring a very different dynamic to what they have to offer, and that could be pretty difficult for Ohio State to prepare for. So you got an arm threat when he's on in Drew Aller, and then you got a running threat in Pagula. So that could be pretty interesting to see how James Franklin plays that and to see how he handles Drew Aller. But the storylines for these teams are incredible. I mean, obviously, this is a top 5 matchup. You had a 3 versus a 4. But you got both of these guys who have the reputation of not getting it done in the big games. And James Franklin is not getting it done against Ohio State and Michigan in particular. So here's a chance for him to kind of rewrite and prove people wrong about how he can be in these big games. And on the flip side, Ryan Day not doing well against top 5 and top 10 matchups and losing a lot of those recently. The shtick on Ryan Day is he can't win the big game. So this is a really big game for him. And obviously, he's beaten Penn State numerous times, so he's not. This is not unfamiliar territory for him. But these are highly ranked teams and highly ranked matchups, and this is an area where Ryan Day has shown some struggling. So Ohio State is going to be without their starting left tackle again, Josh Simmons, and we'll see what happens with Zen Mikulski about if he were going to play. But we have seen that is a very big weakness for Ohio State. Not being able to have those tackles, a good tackle presence and tackle depth, has really hurt them in recent games. And Penn State, with Abdul Carter and their D-line, can really get after you and cause some chaos out there. So Ryan Day will have to really rely on Will Howard making Penn State's defense sweat by running the football. And that's going to be very difficult to do when you have an offensive line that has shown to be a little bit shaky and a little bit weak recently. Also, can Ohio State get their run game going? I mean, this kind of goes hand in hand with their offensive line problems, but they have arguably the 2 best backs in the conference. You can arguably say it's the 2 best backs in the country, and I think Penn State fans would challenge that with Kaytron Allen and Nick Singleton. But Ohio State hasn't been able to run the ball the way that they want it to be, and this is going to be a tough defense to do that with. Now, if we look on the Penn State side, where's their offense going to stack up against this Ohio State defense? They haven't truly been challenged yet. And truthfully, the Penn State offense hasn't really been all that scary. They don't have a ton of weapons outside that really scare you. And Nick Singleton hasn't really seemed to be himself. I think he might be hurt. And Kaytron Allen has been good, but not anything elite. So how are they going to get success against this Ohio State defensive line, where we have seen in this game in particular, JTT and this defensive line just absolutely take over games like this? So this is going to be a big heavyweight matchup. Ohio State's favored by a field goal, I think 3.5. I'm going to lean with Ohio State here, minus 3.5. I do think this will be a very hard environment to go in and win. And Ohio State just went on the road to Autzen and got beat. But I do think that it is a good time to buy low on Ohio State. They are just coming off of a close win to Nebraska, where they were trailing in the fourth quarter and had to have a comeback drive to pull that one out. And I think that's going to be pretty ripe in everyone's minds. So I'm going to go with Ohio State minus 3.5 here. I think they pull it out. Follow Big Body Ball CFB on all socials.